Okay, so assignment one by Aaron Christensen. So, current slide. Bit of background knowledge. So, Jessie Duckett. She is a sales consultant at Infinity Australia. Her next trip in the right hand side, as you can see, is Byron Bay. Her favourite destination is England. She has travelled to 19 countries. She has been in the travel industry for 4 years. So as I just said, she works at the Flight Centre head office in Southbank, Queensland. And Jessie has previously worked in Flight Centre retail stores down in Victoria also before moving into head office. So who are Flight Centre? So Flight Centre, this is off their website. It says Flight Centre Travel Group is one of the world's largest travel agency groups. It has company-owned operations in 23 countries and a corporate travel management network that spans more than 90 countries. It employs more than 19,000 people globally and has a total of 2,800 businesses. So before interviewing Jessie, I wrote down the mathematics that I believe were used in this workspace. So the first one I believe would be addition. So addition would be used purely because you are adding together flights, you are adding up total cost of holidays and whatnot. Obviously, knowing Jessie, I know that they have to reach a few percentage marks, and they obviously get commission off. They get a percentage of the commission. Sorry, so I thought that percentages would be used. Decimals, I think this one just goes well with the addition. Obviously, flights might cost $19.95, so you're adding up using decimals as well. And averages, so average cost of the flights, average revenue you are making per week, per month. They were just some of the theories that I thought of the mathematics used in this workspace. So what mathematics are used? So when I asked Jessie, she said that all the mathematics I believed were correct. There were a few other things. So obviously the addition and percentage was correct. She also went on to say about technology. So technology has a large impact on the way that travel agents, especially within Flight Centre, look at the way of calculating flights. She also said that date and time was a large thing. So obviously, if they get their dates incorrect, it could mean that someone is rocking up to a hotel and they do not have the right day of arrival. So date and time is a massive one, and negative numbers. So negative numbers is a bit of a weird one. She said negative numbers are pretty big because if you aren't reaching your goal per month, you essentially go into the negative. So obviously, like every workplace, you are reaching for an ultimate goal, and at Infinity Travel, as Jessie said, you need to reach certain figures to purely stay out of the negative area. So moving on. So my first real other question to Jessie was, you use a lot of figures that help you find flights. Can you relate any of this back to your primary school days? Now, Jessie was pretty blunt, and all she said was no. But then I also asked her, where else can you see this then? And she said, I can see a lot of this relating back to my secondary education, but not my primary school days. So I also then went on to explain about mathematics in primary school nowadays, especially from our tutorials and whatnot, how a lot more in-depth learning is occurring compared to maybe some of the stuff when I was back at primary school, when Jessie was back at primary school. The content is a lot more in-depth compared to what we were learning back then, and that it would be relating back majority to early to mid primary school age now. So the computer setup. So the following photograph has been taken by Jessie at her desk. As you'll see on the left screen, there is a comparison of the agent earning. obviously there's ranking systems. You're obviously trying to make more money than your colleague. So on one computer screen there is a table of where you are positioned, and then on the right hand screen it is a current booking that Jessie is doing. So that is it there. As I just said, the other travel agents offer on that one, and the current booking is on this one. So calculating flights. So this is just another screenshot that Jessie has sent me of a current flight that she is trying to calculate and book for her her customer. Sorry. So as we can see in here, we have percentages. So you can see that they are just the booking references on the left hand side, and then so Jessie will be, her total percentage that she'll be making out of this is 5.89%, and then obviously the decimals are used, so we can see that throughout the whole entire tables. I can just take a random figure and say there's 459.98. So that's a certain flight. So they're your different types of flights, how expensive they are. And then totals. So our total. So Jessie will be making from this flight $686.60, whereas we have to take away a negative because I think she went on to say that because she wasn't reaching a certain mark, she got deducted $1.31. So now that was where the negatives come in. So that just gets taken away from the $886.60. So that's her commission tables. So what do these tables mean? So as I asked Jessie, I was obviously interviewing her via email as well. So it was pretty lucky to record the answers. And the other positive to this was she was able to send me some screenshots of some other things, and this is what she also sent me purely to show what they are looking at a more simplified depth. So this is everything. Everything here is a part of a holiday. So over here we have the date. So the date is very important. Obviously, you don't want your clients to be missing their flight times. So that's your date. We have our time. So that's obviously arrival and departure time. Obviously, so they're not going to miss their flights. And then here is the cost. So the total cost of what it's going to be costing the customer when they are paying. So, and the way this all works is Jessie gets a phone call from the retail stores. The retail stores are informing her of all this information, and then it is Jessie's job, being the wholesaler, to find the flights, send it back. So not only Jessie can make flights, but the person in the retail store can make money as well as the customer booking their flights. So my next question to Jessie was, do you believe math strategies such as using tables help keep order? So I did have to explain this one to Jessie, but then after I did explain what a math strategy was, she went on to say, when it is put like that, yes, as it keeps everything in order. And much like everything at the start it is hard, but it is just a part of what I do. But using tables with specific codes is a valuable asset. My next question to Jessie was, from someone that is not studying education, why do you believe mathematics is so important? So she went on to say, I believe that education is important as you never really know where you are going to end up. Never did I think I would be using things like decimals and percentage on a daily basis. This just proves that you don't know where you are going to end up in your profession. Obviously, a lot of people know what they want to do from an early age, but like Jessie said, she never thought that she would be studying, she'd be using decimals and percentages, part of her profession. So I believe that when teaching in the classroom, it is just vital that we are teaching our children the right criteria, the right strategies, the right concepts about these types of mathematics. And yeah, it can go a long way. And as Jessie said, it's used in her her everyday life. So, what impact has technology done on your workplace? This is her response. When I was in the retail stores, we still had to use a calculator a bit, but nowadays majority of the calculations are done through a system which reads off the blue screens. So that purely just means that instead of using calculators and using pen and paper to find out, the flight center head office has set up a system where they read certain codes, they read the tables, and they're able to instill them in a quicker and more accurate way, so mistakes aren't being used. As Jessie said, when she was in a retail store, she probably didn't have the equipment to be able to do that. So they were still using the calculator back then. So when you relate that back to the classroom, it's obviously very important to be able to go through your stages first. So when I was growing up, it was obviously easy to go through pen and paper, put one on top of each other and just figure it out like that. And then as you get older, your calculator. And now, as Jessie said, they use a system. She also did mention that they still do their calculations, especially subtraction, when they're trying to figure out the difference between their commission earnings compared to another colleague's commission earnings. So obviously if someone has a lot more, they take away their own one and then they figure out the difference from there. They said, Jessie did mention that this isn't on their tables purely to not to keep them guessing, but to make sure that they are going 100% every day. So, yeah. So, reflection. So, a quick reflection upon this was technology now has a massive influence not in jobs but in the classroom. So, you go out on prac now, you see children constantly on iPads, playing maths games on iPads and computers. So technology is massive, but I still think it's very important that we still are using the MAB blocks, counters, just anything where children can physically hold something and count. Those mats are very important as well as the use of just whiteboards. So, but in saying that, it is very important, I think, in modern day society to use technology if it is available. It is still important to learn the fundamental math skills. So as Jessie said, she never thought that she'd be using decimals or anything like that in her professional life. But it just proves that you never know where it could take you. So learning your fundamental math skills like addition, subtraction, fractions is very important. In this profession, the knowledge of averages and respective columns is vital. So this was just a reflection upon Jessie's workplace. I believe it's just very important to know the respective columns, because if not, you don't want to be getting all your figures jumbled up. So that is very important. And one of my last emails to Jessie was contribution to a meaningful society. I left it like that, and when I asked Jessie, she did not know what this question meant. So as I explained further, she became more aware of the impacts on society that her job does, and this is the question that I used to further explain what I meant by that. So it said, do you understand that by doing all these codings and mathematics, the end result is someone potentially having the best holiday of their life? Jessie then responded, I didn't think of it like that, but when it is put in those words, it makes you feel happy and satisfied to know you are contributing to someone's happiness. And that is the end. Thank you for watching and listening to my presentation on Jesse Duckett, who works at Flight Centre Infinity Holidays. Thank you.